Hello and welcome to this guided tour of the EL Team Drive. So first things first, I highly recommend that you bookmark the EL Team Drive link somewhere that it's going to be easily accessible for you. So I keep it right here in my bookmark drive. Let's take a look. All right, welcome. Isn't it beautiful? So in the EL Team Drive, as you can see, first of all, it's very well organized and there are not a ton of folders. We really pride ourselves on excellent organization and on keeping the team drive clean. So as you can see, we have a couple different sections. We have course guidelines, units 1, 2, 3, and 4, assessment summary, various templates that we use, the student peer meeting minutes that they fill out in peer work, as well as a folder for cross-campus collaboration between Mauritius and Rwanda. So in this video, we're going to be looking through folders 1 through 5, course guidelines through unit 4. Let's take a look. So in the course guidelines folder, we have the various documents that constitute what makes EL EL. So the aptly named EL course guidelines document, which when it loads up, you can see is quite a long document. And this actually ends up published on ALUX, which as of May 2018 is still our learning management system. But of course, everything that goes onto the learning management system must first be created offline, and then we can embed it or copy and paste the text directly. So you have everything that you need to know about entrepreneurial leadership in this document. Now, this document will need to be revised and updated every year. As you can see, 2017 is the heading here. And for things like the facilitators, this will change, right? Unfortunately, we've already lost Emmanuel. He's off doing his MBA and we miss him a lot. But these facilitators will change year to year. And the cohorts that those facilitators work with will change year to year. So that's just one small example of updates and changes that you will need to make before starting a new year of EL. So that's the course guidelines folder. Let's close that and take a look at the various units. So I'm going to work now with unit 4. It's one of our most recent units, but essentially the breakdown of each folder is exactly the same. So when we go to unit 4, we see that we have a couple of different folders here. 0 is for overall documents, and then each week of the unit is broken down by number and topic. So in week 1 of unit 4, we worked on financial planning. Week 2 of Unit 4 was called Pitch Perfect, which was about pitching your innovation. Week 3 of Unit 4 was about legal implications of launching your business. And then week 4 of Unit 4 was our ALU Innovate Festival. So let's take a look at week 1 and see what you'll find. Now, if you go into any week's folder in any unit in EL, you should see these 3 folders: lesson plan, slides, and resources. Let's get started with the lesson plan. Now you're going to learn more about lesson plan creation and curriculum design later on in this EL playbook. For now, we're going to give you a bit of an overview. Okay, so lesson plans are not just created for the in-class sessions that we hold with students, which, as you know by now, are discovery sessions and class sessions. In fact, these lesson plans are created for discovery, self-work, peer work, and class. Okay, so every single element of the ALU learning model has a lesson plan associated with it. Now, if we take a look at discovery, we're not going to go through the details of this document, but what it's important for you to know is that within the team drive lives the final version of documents such as this, right? So when any facilitator from any campus, and eventually, remember, we're only 2 campuses now, but hopefully not too soon in the future, we will be many people in many different places. So when any EL facilitator from around the continent or around the world opens up, Unit 4, Week 1 discovery lesson plan, they should come to this document. And this document will give you everything that you need to know about what that 90-minute class is going to look like, okay? That includes links to whatever you may need in the session, case study prompts, etc., as well as a detailed breakdown not just of the activities in the session flow, but what exactly will be happening in each one of those activities. So that's the lesson plan. Then we can go into slides. And now you're going to learn more about slides in the next session and how to create them. But you'll notice right away when you open up a slides folder for 1 week, it looks like there's a lot going on in there. Okay, so let's break this down a little bit. Why do we have, let's see, how many documents is this? Quite a few. Why do we have quite a few slide decks for just 1 week of delivery in which you'll only meet the students in the classroom twice? Well, that's because we have a master slide deck for both discovery and for class. Now, this would be a good moment for me to point out the naming conventions that we use. We use very strict naming conventions so that everything that we need to find is easy to do. So here, for example, we have EL underscore U4, of course, unit 4 underscore week 1 underscore slides, very aptly named, underscore discovery, underscore version 3.1. So that's the version of the curriculum that we were delivering in 2017, 2018. So in other years, in future years, you may see a different naming convention there. But importantly, here you have underscore M. Now, M does not stand for Mauritius, it stands for master. So both the Mauritius campus and the Rwanda will use that master version. Now, if we go into here, we will see the slide version of this session plan. Now, again, in the next video, you guys will see how to take this session plan and turn it into a slide deck. But here, what it's important for you to know is that this exists. This is the master. Now, while this is great and good to have, one thing that we emphasize pretty strongly at ALU is ownership. So we do not mandate that every facilitator has to use the same exact slides because that would be silly, right? We all have different approaches to the classroom and we all manage our classrooms differently, and that is awesome. So what we do instead is we make copies of these documents, right? So I would just go in here, make a copy, and again, remember, let's maintain those naming conventions. So I want to remove that copy of, and instead, I just want to put in brackets at the end, Julia, and I'll write Julia 2, because as you can see here, a Julia already exists. So I'll cancel that for now, and go into, instead, my other slides. So you can anticipate that these slides may vary a little bit from facilitator to facilitator. They may not change at all, but let's take a bit of a side-by-side glance. So what I've done right away is I've removed the icebreakers from the master slide. I can't tell you why I did that. It probably had something to do with time management. Let's see, I still have that cute little picture. Here's an important change that facilitators will need to make when they copy, is that entry polls have unique links for both campuses. So clearly this is the entry poll for Rwanda, this is the entry poll for Mauritius. You can tell from the last 2 letters. So as an EL Rwanda facilitator, I just went in and deleted the Mauritius one to avoid confusion for students. Now maybe I've changed out some of the slides that we have. No, it doesn't look like I made any significant changes here. This was a fairly straightforward slide deck. What I did do here is, no, nothing. That's exactly what was created in there. So you can see minor changes can be made, and that is the reason why you have many different copies. Now you also have the slides for class sessions in there as well, and the same deal, copy for various facilitators. Excellent. Let's close those guys up. We can leave the master. And go back here to resources. Now, resources are basically a catch-all folder for anything that may come up in the week of the unit that you don't want to become clutter. So for example, in this lesson plan, there are various links to case study prompts. So rather than having those only live in the session plan, I'm also going to put case study prompts in my resources folder so that as a facilitator, if I'm rushed, I need to put something before class, all I have to do is go to the resources folder. Excellent. So now we've gone through a week in a unit, and you guys have an introduction to the EL team drive and the various things that we keep in here. Folder 6 is a summary of the assessments that we use based on unit. We won't go through all of those now because the assessments will likely change from year to year. The various templates that we use, such as for exit polls, for slide decks, and for the slide deck template, you'll be learning about that in our next video. Peer meeting minutes is a back-end area to catch all of the meeting minutes forms that students fill out as part of their peer work. The reason there's no Unit 1 here is because EL does not begin doing peer work until Unit 2. And then finally, a folder for cross-campus collaboration. Now, depending on how your team works, this folder may look slightly different, but essentially folders 1 through 5 are going to be the core of the EL team drive. This is where the final version of the curriculum lives, so that every facilitator from across the continent, across the world, can go to one place and ensure that we are delivering for the same learning outcomes, the same activities. I hope that you guys have enjoyed. I'll see you in the next video.